G'day Bomber fans, we've got some annoying injury news for you, but honestly news I've expected. For a little while now, Darcy Parish has been off to the side in training. I've been saying that I'm worried about him and how he can get started for the year, and here we have an update from Brad Scott saying that Parish is now in doubt for opening round. Not fully ruled out, but in doubt, which when you're an injury-prone player approaching 30 or getting closer to it, it kind of means you're ruled out. I'm not putting a line through him because Scott isn't, but you would have to expect that Parish misses opening round now, which then makes it a question as to when he returns. The club isn't rushing it. Scott said that they're playing it safe. There is no time frame yet. It is a back niggle, really, not even a proper injury, I don't think. So there's no date of arrival. He's just gonna miss both practice matches. That is all we really know right now, and it's really frustrating because we entered the year talking about it being a really important one for Parish in our midfield. If we want to find form as a team and get on-field results, which isn't really the expectation for the year in my eyes, but if we wanted that now, Parish would probably have to be available, playing really good footy, and unfortunately for that to happen, you usually need a really good preseason. Parish played 12 games last year and hasn't really trained a hell of a lot this year leading up to the new season, so there is now a massive risk he comes into the year underdone, which can lead to more form worries and more injuries. It's just not a good start to the year for Parish. It's really frustrating, and the most frustrating thing about it is that it doesn't really seem to be a proper injury. As I said, it's a back niggle. That is why there's no real return date. It's not like a soft tissue injury where you can build back knowing when you'll be alright. Parish is just in pre-season limbo right now, off to the side in training. The club is trying different ways to integrate him back, but every time they do it, it just doesn't work. He can probably push through the pain. It's probably an injury that, if it occurred mid-season, he would play through till the end, but there is no point having him push through before the start of the longest home and away season in the club's history. We play opening round this year, so we have to be playing high intensity footy for 24 weeks, 6 months. That's a long time to be playing with a back niggle. The club is waiting for Parish to be fully fit, and unfortunately he just isn't getting to that stage yet. And even when he does, he still has to bring his match fitness to a good level because he hasn't been able to work on that really that hard this preseason. Now, many are going to be in the comments talking about Parish and why we don't need him and whatnot, and in a weird way, this injury does create some silver linings for us as a club. As I said earlier, I'm not expecting or wanting a good season with on-field, well, I'm obviously wanting a good season with on-field results, but I'm more focused on getting our young players into a good position for next year and beyond. So this injury does give more time to those young players like Elijah Sartas in the midfield. It means he could get a proper look at some stoppage minutes in the AFL, which he hasn't had yet in his short career, and that's really exciting because he's looked fantastic this preseason. So that is the silver lining here. An injury to an established player only gives opportunities to those behind in the pecking order, so it's not the end of the world at all. Some will actually be happy with this, but for Parish and the narrative there, I think we do forget how important he is to our system when he's playing good footy, and unfortunately we forget that because he hasn't played good footy in a while. But in 2021 and 2022 and even parts of 2023, he was genuinely one of the best players in our team and one of the best clearance mids in the comp. His numbers were crazy. He averaged 7.6 clearances a game in 2021. No one else managed to get above 7.6. 6.1 in 2022 was a drop-off, but it's still the 9th best in the competition. And in 2023, he played much less footy. He had some injuries again, but he was back up to 7.7, averaging over 4 stoppage clearances a game. And that number is really important because we've become a pretty average team for getting the ball out of stoppages, and a big reason for that is because we just haven't had access to peak Parish in a few years. Last year, of the players that played over 5 games for the season, the best average per match for stoppage clearances was Jai Caldwell with 2.7, so that is a long way away from what Parish was giving us at his best. So we're really lacking in that area without Parish. We've become a really poor team for stoppage clearances. Brad Scott is right in saying that we need him. If we want to have a really good season with on-field results, if we want our midfield to be firing, I think we need 18 plus games of fit and firing Darcy Parish. That's obviously not an ideal spot to be in, relying on players, but I think it's true. I don't think we have great depth because a lot of our depth is very young. Now, again, this is only really if you want Essendon going far this year, which I can safely say I don't think we will. And again, this injury does create opportunities for younger players to shine, so it's not the end of the world at all. But for Parish, who was such a good player for us a few years ago, it is really frustrating. He just hasn't been able to be himself for a while now. Alright, so let's say I'm the coach, I take Brad Scott's job and get a pay rise to make poor decisions. You guys would obviously start to hate me, but if I'm the coach, I'd probably want Parish to return through the VFL no matter what now. I think these injury woes have gone on too long, and as we saw last year, he is a player that takes a while to get going when returning from injury, so I would love if the club just said, look, no return date, we don't push you hard to get right for a certain stage, we take it as easy as we can, and when you're ready to play, we give you a week or two in the VFL before throwing you back in the deep end. I think that should be the way players like Parish return. Same with Ridley. Even though he was great against Richmond in Dreamtime in his return game, I would have liked him spending a week in the VFL, especially in 2025, because results aren't where we're going to be looking as fans. So giving senior players who are prone to injury that extra week in the VFL not only gives them more than enough time to get back to full health, but it also gives someone else below them more of a chance in the AFL, and it gives the VFL boys a chance to play with a really good player at their side. Think about how much someone like Zach Johnson could learn just from watching Parish alongside him. But yeah, to sum this all up, Parish is in doubt for round 1, nothing confirmed yet, but I'm inclined to think that he's out for a little bit longer than that, to be honest, which of course gives young Elijah Sartas a good chance to play some senior midfield minutes. Alright, now just looking quickly towards the Bulldogs practice game, so match structures have been released for a few of the games, but not ours, which honestly, who cares? But on screen is a list of the players that are, I think, confirmed not to be playing, or not confirmed, but we can logically assume that they won't be. So Parish is obviously ruled out with his back, we've spoken about that. Nick Cox has that lingering concussion. Jordan Ridley was ruled out a while ago with that hamstring, but could play against Geelong the week after. Same story with Durham, he had a big knock to the ribs and won't play, but he could against Geelong. The next two are the ones here, the only ones confirmed to be out for the start of the regular season, I think. Guelphy and Davey, so Guelphy has that 3-month surgery recovery from a hamstring. Davey has that knee issue. You got the rookies, Zach Johnson, Jaden Newen and Archer Day Wicks. They're all taking their time as rookies to get back from their injuries. No rush there at all. And Jade Gresham will also miss the game, but he's fully fit. He's actually going to be playing in the Indigenous All-Stars game on the same night, which should be fun. And then, of course, you have question marks over guys like Laverty and Mackay and Nate Caddy and Harrison Jones, who've all had time away from main training recently. For Caddy, it's really minor. He landed badly after a mark. That's going to happen a lot. He's actually, by the way, doing some training in how to land properly after a mark attempt because he just flies in without regard for his body. Jones rolled his ankle slightly, but I think he's going to be fine, or at least fine for Geelong. Mackay's been back in full training, I think, but yeah, it means we have at least 10 players missing from the squad to play the Dogs, which, depending on squad sizes, could mean we get early looks at some players we didn't think we would have a look at. Even if it's a squad of 30, it means we get looks at Lewis Hayes again, which is good, maybe Reece Unwin, maybe Angus Clark, and of course, the SSP trio, Baldwin, Edwards, and Hoare. I'm going to have a video out soon about them, I reckon. But yeah, that's really all for the video today, mostly about Parish. Unfortunate news. It should be a fun hit out on the weekend regardless, so get onto KO or wherever it's streaming to watch that. I'll be posting videos about it as well, both leading up to it and after. Cheers for watching, guys. Make sure you like the video if you enjoyed, subscribe if you're new, and go Bombers.